Hey guys, so I'm going to be going over the questions for 9.1. In your outline, it told you to do 5, 6, 8, and 9, but I told you to do 5, 6, 7, 10, and 16. That's because I made a mistake. These are technically the questions you're supposed to do for 9.2, but if you did these questions, it's not a big deal. But in this video, I'm going to be doing the questions from the outline as well as the questions that I told you to do in case some of you did the outlines. So if I'm going over questions that you didn't do, that's why. So to start, I wrote down that the blue dots were negative and the red dots were positive because you can see I even wrote it down wrong. I kept getting confused between the colors of the dots. So I wrote this little reminder at the top of my work page, and then I did a number line because I really like to solve these questions with a number line. The blue and red dots work as well, so if that's working for you, I would continue that way, but I'm going to show you how I do it mostly with a number line. So for question 5, we have 5A, and if you look in your textbook, you can see 5A has positive 5 red dots, and then we know it's an addition statement because it tells us that in the question, and we are adding negative 5 to that. So I'm starting at positive 5, and I'm going to add negative 5. Whenever I'm adding a negative, I move to the left. So I'm starting at positive 5, and I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That gets me to 0. Then we have 5B, which has a negative 6 blue dots, but I am adding 4 red dots. So I'm going to start at negative 6. And this time I'm doing positive numbers, so I get to move to the right. So I'm at negative 6, and I'm going to move up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm at negative 2. Next, we have 5C, which has negative 4 blue dots plus 8 red dots. So again, I'm going to be starting at negative 4, and I'm going to move to the right 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That gets me to positive 4. So that's 5. Now we have 6. 6A, I have a positive 6 dots plus a negative 9 dots. So I'm going to start at positive 6. Now I have a negative number, so I get to move to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm at negative 3. 6B, I have negative 4 plus 4. So I'm going to start at negative 4. I have a positive number, so I get to move to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. That gets me to 0. And then C, I have positive 7 plus negative 3. I'm going to start up here at positive 7, and now I have a negative number. I go to the left. 1, 2, 3. That gets me to positive 4. So now moving on to question 7, which is very similar, but they didn't provide the dots for you. They just provided an equation. So it started with positive 3 plus positive 4. That's super easy. That is just a normal positive 7. Then we have B, negative 2 plus negative 4. So I'm going to show you on the number line. I have negative 2, and I'm going to add a negative number, which means I have to go to the left. Negatives always mean I'm going to the left. So I'm going to add 4 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. That gets me to negative 6. Then I have positive 5 plus negative 2. Positive 5, I have a negative number, 1, 2. That gets me to 3. And then finally, I have negative 8 plus positive 8. That answer is 0. So you should be able to see that whenever we have opposite numbers, so one positive and one negative, but they're the same number, our answer has been 0. So that's kind of a little trick to help you with those questions. So now we're on 8, which looks very similar to 7. Negative 4 plus -1, -4. I'm going to add 1 to the left because it's a -1. That gets me to -5. That's 8a. 8b is +2 plus +6. This one's nice and easy. It's just 8, 6, 7, 8 because I'm working with all positive numbers. C, -7 plus +4. So here I'm at -7 and I have a +4, so I'm going to move to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm at -3. D is +8 plus -3. So I have +8. It's going to be way up here. And then I'm going to go to the left. 1, 2, 3 to get down to 5. So that's question 8. Next we had question 9, which had a lot, was word problems. So question 9a says Sharon found $10, then lost $4. How much did she have left? So what it wants me to do is it wants me to figure out the two numbers they gave me in that question. Are they positive or negative? So if someone found $10, that means that they gained $10. That would be a positive 10. And then if you lost $4, that would be a negative number. You lost that money, it's gone. So you don't have it anymore. So then they want me to know how much she had left. So we started at 10 and she has lost 4. That tells me that she had 6, and that's a positive 6 left. So that's 9a. 9b says a snail slid 7 centimeters down and climbed 5 centimeters back up. How far was the snail below its original position? Well, because it says the word down, I'm going to do 7 as a negative number, but I'm going to do 5 as a positive number because the snail climbed 5 back up. So he went down 7 at the sidewalk, but then up another 5. So that means it is -2 centimeters away from its original position. C, in one game, the Rockies girls soccer team scored 4 goals and had 1 goal scored against. How many goals did they win by? So they scored 4. That is a positive 4 for sure because they scored those 4. And then I'm going to add a -1 because they got 1 goal scored against. So they scored 4, had 1 goal scored against. That means that they won by 3 goals. D, a scuba diver dove 4 meters underwater and then went down another 8 meters. What was the diver's final depth under the water? Well, because he's going under the water, that's going to be -4. And then he went another 8. So that's another negative number there. So I have -4, and then I'm going to go down -8. That would go way past my number line, but that would get me to -12 meters under the water. You can see that once you've decided if a number is going to be negative, the addition process is the same as if the numbers were positive. 4 plus 8 is 12. But because I know that I have a negative number and I'm just going more negative, that 12 has to be negative as well. Okay, only 2 questions left. Next is question 10. It says Miguel spent $6 on Saturday morning and another $9 on Saturday afternoon. How much less money did he have at the end of the day than at the beginning? So he spent, which means it's gone, which is a negative number, $6, and then he spent -$9. Okay, so I have -6 plus -9. If I take away those negative numbers, I can tell that that should equal 15. I just need to decide if it should still be negative or if it should be positive. So at my number line, I have -6, and I'm adding another negative number, -9. Negative numbers go to the left, which tells me it will be a negative number, -15. And that is all for question 10. And then the very last question is question 16, and it says, what is the opposite of -3? Explain. So I have -3 as my number, and they want to know what the opposite of -3 is. Well, the opposite of -3 is going to be +3. I know that because when I add those two numbers or do anything with those two numbers together, I'm going to get 0 because they are at opposite points on my number line. Okay, and then this number says opposite twice. So it says, what is the opposite of -3? So if the opposite of -3 is +3, then the opposite of the opposite takes me back to -3. I don't know why they wanted to make that one so confusing, but technically the opposite of the opposite is -3. Let me know if you guys had any questions about this math work. We will start on 9.2 tomorrow.